What is up, my lovely people in BluCranium land? So here's another almost finished traditional piece. And the reason I say almost is because I can never seem to decide if I need to make another line or some more detail to the piece. So, yeah. If you guys are interested in looking at my thought process or listening to my thought process, stick around and let's get started. So initially what I did was I kind of drew out this rough skeleton. As you can see, is he's almost like kind of like in the laying down, kind of like passed out position. And what I wanted to do was kind of almost show that he's kind of reaching for something. And that was the original plan. But then my other side of the brain was like, oh my gosh, are you just gonna leave all that blank space all around the skeleton? And I was like, you know what, it kind of looks really blank, and I was like, no, stick to the original plan. And I just kind of at this point was just kind of like, let me see how it turns out. And kind of like sticking to the original plan. What I said was like, just drawing the skeleton and kind of just adding some detail to it, and just having the background kind of being not too busy, and like so the skeleton would kind of be the main focus on the illustration. Since the drawing was done over a period of like I think 2 maybe 3 days, I had some time to kind of walk away from it or kind of like close it and keep it in my folder, and then kind of come back to it. So here I just kind of just started going over the rough lines and just making like a basic outline for the skeleton, because what I really wanted to do is just work on like showing like some immense kind of detail on the inside, like where the rib cage area would be. So it would kind of be like a mechanical skeleton, kind of like the ones that you see in Terminator, which I'm sure I've probably talked to you guys on more than one occasion, which is my favorite movie. So it's like always my goal always to draw these total futuristic sci-fi looking skeletons with all these gadgets and gizmos and chips and wires and all that other fun stuff. But as you'll see as the video progresses, I soon kind of moved away from that, because I was like, just drawing the skeleton and this canvas or paper and seeing all this negative white space I was like, man, this is just going to be really hard for me just to keep it at just the skeleton. So what I decided was, let me build some sort of a city or some sort of a town around the skeleton, so he kind of just doesn't look like he's just kind of floating in space over here. And now with the wonderful time lapse, gosh, can you imagine if we could just draw as quickly as these time lapse clips become? I mean, it would just be amazing to see how much art you can actually get finished. So this is part of the detail what I was doing. So I kind of wanted to signify like kind of like a whole lot of bunch of wires underneath the actual rib cage, and that took some time. And I figured, kind of be boring to just show that for the entire illustration. And then as you can see over here, I went ahead and did this little city or floating city all around the piece, and then kind of did the inking. And then I kind of wanted to give it like a floating kind of a view, so it almost looks like the skeleton's kind of fallen over in this city floating in midair. And I kind of like how it turned out, because with the nice stars in the background, almost looks like like the skeleton had fallen somewhere in outer space. So here now I just continue to do the stippling, which is kind of like my favorite thing to do on these pieces now, and like probably the ones going forward. And just kept on working over here, a little bit over here, a little bit over there, and just kind of like, fine tuning it. As I said, like, these pieces are never completely finished, because, whenever I look at the piece after a little bit, I'm like, man, it needs some lines over here, or maybe some shading over here. So it's always like a work in progress. But for the most part, as you can see, like, I'm kind of happy with how the piece came out. I mean, I'd originally planned for it just to be just the skeleton, and then kind of drew the city around it, and it almost looks like as though that was the final intention. But moreover, I think I like how it has that nice 3D depth kind of a look to it, and I think I'm gonna probably do more of them as we further progress. But anyway, guys, I guess I'd like to say thanks for everybody that stuck around and watched with me, or drew with me, or listened to me ramble on. Till the next time, guys, keep creating, keep drawing. I guess I will see you guys down the road or on the other side. Bye for now.